So far, we've learned how to throttle network speeds so we can simulate how users on slower connections load a website. That's fine, but what if more targeted throttling is required? For example, testing how the website runs when only a specific third-party resource is loading slow. We can do all of this with Charles, the fully fledged proxy application introduced in the previous video. It's available to download on Mac, Windows and Linux at charlesproxy.com. I'm going to use it with this guinea pig website. If I inspect its code, I can see that in the head tag there's a script element which loads jQuery from a third-party source. I've copied its URL. Now, in Charles, if I go to Proxy, then Throttle Settings, it'll open this pop-up window. I'll want to check these boxes and then click the Add button. Then it's just a matter of pasting in the URL like so. Below, in the Throttle preset drop-down, I'll select something slow like 56K. And then back in the browser window, reopen the website in a private window so cache isn't a factor. This third-party request will now be throttled by Charles, and as a consequence, significantly slow down the rendering of the website. Why? Script elements which don't have a defer or async attribute are treated as blocking by the browser, so the critical rendering path cannot complete until these have been downloaded and executed. In addition to running slow, sometimes resources just don't load at all. Using Charles, I can simulate what impact this would have on the same website. If I click the Tools menu, then DNS spoofing, this opens a pop-up window which allows me to redirect any host to a different IP address. I'll add a new entry for our jQuery URL and redirect it to this special black hole IP address. This is an IP address provided by the folks at Webpage Test to allow you to simulate perpetual loading. Now if I reopen the website in another private window, we can see that nothing happens. This is an example of what's called a single point of failure, and testing for these is called single point of failure testing, or SPOF testing for short. Eventually, the browser overrides the request and the page renders, minus the jQuery script. However, the time it takes for this to happen varies across operating systems. On Windows, this is 20 seconds, but everywhere else, Mac, iOS, Android, it's a whole 60 seconds. So there you go. When developing websites, it's important that we implement third-party requests correctly, so we don't create our own single points of failure. We'll cover how to do this later in the course. As for the rest of the video, feel free to hang around until the browser decides to give up on the request and load the rest of the website. It could be a while.